We saw the issues that were happening in the city. We saw the issues that were happening around our communities, and we weren't having a voice at the table. And our voices will be heard, not going to be heard, will be heard.
Today is my first day of canvassing here in Highland for Abigail, Medina. I'm lost and alone. So today is my second day. I got a clipboard today. There's nobody home. I'm definitely lost. I've been walking around since 4 o'clock today. It's now 7, and I've gotten 3 yeses. But you know, it'd be like that sometimes. This is all canvassing's about, is getting lost in random cities. So I think I'm gonna go to a park I saw down here. There's still a lot of like families. I think there was like a soccer game going on. But I did get followed by a car today, so I'm a little paranoid. So I got my first yes of the day. Hopefully everything else goes just like this. So I got a total of 5 yeses. I did about 8 streets or so. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna tally them up when I get back to base. But yeah.
First up, from the 58th district, a great leading assemblywoman especially in the Women's Caucus, in the Latina Caucus, and I know somebody who's worked very closely with Abigail throughout the course of this campaign and helped her out a lot, Assemblywoman Cristina Garcia.
Buenos dias, good morning. It's nice to have a room full of people, but to have a room full of people that look like California. It's really exciting. I am the incoming chairwoman for the Women's Caucus, and 2 years ago the Women's Caucus, and specifically the Latinas, there's only 5 of us in the legislature, it's lonely, sat down and decided that we were not okay with that anymore, and that we were going to do everything possible to make sure that we had allies and partners, because ladies, it's exhausting to be one of 5 in the Capitol. And so we started early and we ran into Abigail Medina, and it's been amazing to see her grow and see her base grow here in the Empire. Amazing to see our caucus have the potential to go from 5 Latinas to at least 10 Latinas next year. And this is one of our 10. So we talk about parity, and I've been talking about how shameful it is that we don't have more women in the assembly. But as Democrats, we're making sure we talk about parity, and we're getting it done. And this year, all but one of our targets are women. And so it's amazing to have leadership and partnerships with the Speaker, with Jose Medina and the men that are not just saying we need more women in the Assembly and in the Senate, but are doing it. And so I'm here today. Thank you for helping us grow the Women's Caucus. Thank you for helping us get closer to parity. And most importantly, thank you for helping us bring a great leader like Abigail Medina, who's gonna be an amazing voice for this district that needs it so much.
And I wanted, of course, to introduce our very honored guest, Speaker Rendon, who has done a tremendous job to not only make sure that we have women, but individuals who need a voice in communities and can no longer be ignored. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, and good morning. I'm excited. There's what, 22 days, 21 days, 23 days? 23 days. Who's counting? We are. So there's 23 days between getting Abigail Medina into the State Assembly, and that's really exciting for a lot of us. You know, I've been spending a lot of time going around to the different campaign offices over this weekend, and what I think is a little bit different about this one, well, actually what is very different about this one, is when we go to the different campaign offices, people talk to me about getting Democrats elected and whether or not we're going to achieve the supermajority and the size of the Democratic caucus. In Sacramento, we talk a lot about how well the state is doing in job creation and how unemployment is declining. But Cristina Garcia would tell you that in Bell Gardens and in Bellflower and certain parts of her district, the success we've seen in our economy overall has not occurred in parts of her district. Jose Medina will tell you that when we talk about job creation and when we talk about the booming economy, there are parts of Riverside and parts of Moreno Valley where things haven't gotten better. In my district, I'll tell you that in places like Cudahy, in places like Bell, things have not improved that much. And what's important for me about this particular race is that this is about representation. This is not about growing the size of our caucus. This is not about achieving 2/3. Those are sort of abstract goals. This is about representation here, representation in this county, and about electing someone who's going to have a seat at the table, who's going to be constructive, who's going to find out how she can represent this district and make sure that the success that we are feeling overall as a state is felt here, that it's shared, that the resources that we get in other parts of the state come to this district. And that's what's important about Abigail. As we said, we are just less than 2 weeks away from electing somebody exceptionally special to represent this district. We know how important this race is. We know how the effort of all of you is really starting to build and leading into something special. We also know that there are a lot of advantages that we have this year. There's a lot, I don't know if you heard or not, but there's a presidential election happening right now at the same time. Where there's a lot of momentum that is sort of building up at this moment. What we also know is that we have to close strong. What we also know is that in the last 3 weeks, every door you knock on, every friend you talk to, every phone call you make, every one of those matters. This is going to be an exceptionally tight race. We're trying to take out somebody who has a whole heck of a lot of money, way more money than I do. So this is somebody who's not going to go gently. So we have to work really, really hard. So thank you for being here, and thanks for all the work that I know you're going to do over the final 3 weeks. Thanks.
You all look like America. And we cannot let our people we cannot and we will not allow our patriotism to be reductively translated or reduced to just symbolism over substance. You all represent the substance, and part of that substance is exercising patriotism by participating gainfully in the democratic process. Join me as you've been doing and supporting thus far, and welcome our next, I should say, I can't wait to say new, but our next Assembly member for the 40th District for the state of California, Ms. Abigail Medina.
I'm so excited, you know, I'm really nervous, honestly. And because I see her back in the room. I was telling my husband, oh my goodness, how am I going to handle my cool? I'm supposed to say director. I mean, it's amazing when you have individuals who are really fighting for the cause that I've been fighting for, that you've been fighting for. So thank you so much again.
Listen, we know, in this election cycle, the stakes are so very high. In 16 days, we're going to be making such important decisions that I think are going to impact us and our children for generations. You know, many of you know my background. My parents met when they were graduate students at the University of California, Berkeley, in the 1960s when they were active in the civil rights movement. So I grew up in that environment, right? My sister and I joke, we grew up surrounded by a bunch of adults who spent full time marching and shouting about this thing called justice. And of course, among the heroes in that great civil rights movement, among the heroes were the lawyers. Thurgood Marshall, Charles Hamilton Houston, Constance Baker Motley. These individuals who understood the skill of the profession of law to translate the passion from the streets to the courtrooms of our country. Understood the importance of doing what we all know must constantly be done, which is to remind folks of that great promise we articulated in 1776, that we are all and should be treated as equals. And I was elected district attorney of San Francisco in 2003 as the first woman of color to ever be elected district attorney of San Francisco. And then in 2010, elected to be your attorney general, and now I stand before you as not only a candidate for the United States Senate, but a proud, proud, proud supporter of Abigail. So let's get back to this election. So, you know, in terms of the work that I have done in my background, the two things I shared with you probably most influence how I think about issues of, you know, being a child of the civil rights movement and my career as a prosecutor. And, you know, when I've done my work, there's a document that we always file. And that document never reads the name of the victim versus the name of the defendant. It always reads the people. Because in our system of democracy and in our system of justice, we have rightly said, a harm against any one of us is a harm against all of us. And in particular, when we know that harm is most often directed at some of the most voiceless and vulnerable among us. So let's now talk about, as we stand here today, 16 days before this election, what does it mean to be a voice of the people? So here's how I've been thinking about things in this environment where we are. You know, I think this is an inflection moment in our country. I think this is a moment that is similar to that moment in time when my parents met. We are now being required to deal with some stuff that has long been simmering. This is a moment in time, I think, that many of us in our personal lives have faced. You know, that moment where circumstances and situations require us to look in a mirror and with furrowed brow ask a question, who are we? I think this is that moment in time for our country, where we are collectively being required to look in a mirror, and yes, with furrowed brow, we are asking a question, which is, who are we? And San Bernardino, I believe the answer is a good one. I believe we are a great country.
That's right.
And part of what makes us great is we know we are not perfect, but we also know we were founded on certain ideals. Amen. Can I get another amen? This is a moment in time, friends, that is requiring each and every one of us to stand up and fight for our ideals.
So, over the last few months, we've ID'd over 35,000 yeses for Abigail. And his team have come anywhere close to that.
Right.
So, yeah, thanks to you guys for doing that. Keep up the good work, and everything comes down today. But we got to turn them out. This is going to be tight, like I said. Got to turn them out. So again, it's the same stuff, but we need that intensity. We need to get out there. We need to pound that pavement.
This is gonna be fun.
What do I say? Oh yeah, here you go. Don't wear a profile when you write a poem. Introduce yourself to the poll worker and let them know who you are working. Let them know you are working to get out the vote. Okay. You can look for it.
Wait, she was one there when we were showing us fashion.
What's 2%? So throw all that shit over there.
Okay. Does it have to be organized a certain way?
No, just toss that shit.
Okay.
Got it.
All my hard work.
Just kidding.
What do I do with this?
I don't know. Let's go.
How's it looking?
No, yeah. Just give me a couple of tonight.